Sanders. If we've never met, I apologize. I've got a few announcements. First of all, as everyone knows, Michael Manassian won this year's Luby Manuscriptal Contest, and he has moved to New Jersey. New Jersey. So he contacted me and said, of course, the book is available on Amazon, but if anyone would like a signed copy, I've got his email address. You just contact him, work out financial arrangements, and he will send you one, and he'll pay the shipping cost, and he'll sign it for you. So if you would like to get a signed copy of Michael's book, check with me afterwards, and I will get you that information. We've got a special running tonight on the 2021 Book of the Year, and tomorrow for $5 you can get as many copies of the Booty as you want. $5 a piece. So just check with Catherine Larison, and she'll have those available. A couple of weeks ago, Anez Grimes had her 100th birthday. So it's not really a birthday card, but she wanted to be here very badly and was not able to make it. So if you would like to, there is a card on the back table. Just step back there and write her a little note, and I think she would really, really, really appreciate it.
Is she coming tomorrow?
No.
Oh, she can't come either. Okay. Yeah.
100 years.
Wow.
Just let that sink in. As of today, the Fort Worth Poetry Society, the Poetry Society of Texas. Sorry. I sincerely apologize. That was not intended. As of today, the Poetry Society of Texas has been in existence for 100 years. That means the society was here before Charles Lindbergh made his famous flight, since before the Empire State Building was built.
Wow.
Members of the Poetry Society of Texas have watched the first man go into space, the first woman go into space, and watched the first human being walk on the moon. PST members watched the very first Super Bowl, the very first National Collegiate Basketball Tournament, and they have seen 99 World Series.
Whoa.
There was a player strike in '94, so we didn't get to watch all 100. There was a PST before there was a USSR, and we outlived them. The first issue of Reader's Digest was published 3 months after the chartering of the society. Does anyone know who the Poet Laureate of the United States was in 1921? Anybody?
Some dude.
There wasn't one. The United States did not have a Poet Laureate, but not until 1932. So PST has been around longer than there have been Poets Laureate in either the U.S. or in Texas. Since the chartering of PST, the printing press has become the laser printer, and now the 3D printer. The Kodak metal camera with perforated film has become the digital camera, and the digital camera has become your phone. When the society was first formed, many people still cooked over a wood-burning stove. And now most homes have both a stove, either electric or gas, and a microwave oven, something that hadn't even been thought of in 1921. In 1921, we still had switchboard operators, rotary phones, some of them still on stems, and payphone calls cost 2 cents. 2 cents to make a payphone call. And today we all carry around a telecommunications device that has more computing power in it than the thinking machine that controlled the trip to the moon. So much has changed. So many advancements have been made. But one thing that has remained a constant has been the Poetry Society of Texas. The Society published its first Book of the Year in 1922 and has published one every year since, to include the years during the Second World War. The Bulletin began being published in 1941 and has been published monthly ever since. Members of the society have served Texas as Poet Laureate to include 6 PST presidents, and the awards and publications of PST poets are far too numerous to recite here unless you got nothing to do between now and November 5th of 2022. And even then, it would probably keep going. To paraphrase T.S. Eliot, immature poets imitate. Mature poets steal. Wise poets steal from great poets. So stealing from Bud Powell Mahan. The Poetry Society of Texas continues to be one of the most viable in the nation. It influences poetry throughout the state, and by its participation in the National Federation of State Poetry Societies around the country as well. Since it was founded in 1921, the Society has encouraged writers to write, read, and esteem poetry. And it has been successful beyond even the most fanciful dreams of the 7 charter members. The Society cherishes its history of commitment to the original goals on which it was founded. It also prizes the inspiration it has provided to many generations of poets who have found Texas a nurturing place for the expression of their art. The members of PST are writing a history of the Society one day at a time, and in so doing, they are writing a history of us all. There is no doubt that the Society will continue its mission into the 21st century. Ladies and gentlemen, please charge your glasses. Stand with me if you will, as we toast the Poetry Society of Texas. As we celebrate our first century, let us dedicate ourselves to making the next 100 years even more glorious, more successful, and more poetic. To PST. All right. Thank you very much for indulging me, and now let's indulge a couple of other people.
Well done.
Thank you, sir. We've got here a proclamation. To all to whom these presents shall come greetings. Know that this official recognition is presented to the Poetry Society of Texas on the occasion of its 100th anniversary. As Governor of Texas, it is my honor to extend congratulations as you celebrate your centennial. Since 1921, the Poetry Society of Texas has paid homage to the timeless literary tradition of poetry and played an important role in communities across the Lone Star State through their investments in an array of programs, events, and educational workshops. As you reflect on the last 100 years, I commend your dedication to preserving and recognizing the art of poetry. I encourage you to continue working to ensure that this art form survives to inspire the next generation of our state's poets, and I wish you continued success in the future. First Lady Cecilia Abbott joins me in extending best wishes. In testimony whereof I have signed my name and caused the seal of the state of Texas to be affixed at the city of Austin, this the 25th day of October, 2021. Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas. Now, you guys, there's probably a lot of you that, while you know me, you may not know what I do in my other life. I'm an attorney for the federal government, and so as a government attorney, that's really impressive to me that the governor actually sent his congratulations. But I've got one here that actually impressed me more, and we can thank Beth Ayers for this. Now that I've recovered from discovering a poetry society that's older than I am, let me congratulate the Poetry Society of Texas on its 100th anniversary. Of course, I knew everything in Texas was bigger than life size, but it's encouraging to know that this state pride includes poetry, too. Billy Collins, U.S. Poet Laureate, 2001 to 2003. Thank you, Beth Ayers. All right.
Betty is the one that sent in the thing to the governor. I wrote the article, but she sent it in and got it done, so we
Thank you, Betty Roberts, and thank you, Catherine Lairs. Speaking of individuals, we have some introductions and recognitions. I would like to introduce the PST Executive Board. Irene Robertson, our president, was not able to be with us tonight. This is her last day of her COVID quarantine. So, Rich Weatherly, Vice President, if you'll stand. Neil Ostman, Treasurer. Barbara Blanks, Recording Secretary. Betty Roberts, Corresponding Secretary. JDarrell Kirkley, Director and Webmaster. Carol Thompson, Director. I didn't see Carol because she was not over here. And Valerie Martin Bailey, Director. So you guys sit down for a second. We wanted to do something a little different for one of those folks because of all of the jobs, all of the things that she has done to help make this society what it is today. So Barb, if you'll come up here.
What?
What? Come up here. So I don't think I need the mic. You can probably hear me.
It'd be better for the videotape if you were at the mic. This is for Irene.
So, as a way of saying thank you, as a way, yeah, it's a pretty lousy mug. I'm actually going to break it over your head. So, as a way of saying thank you, as a way of recognizing you for all the things you do, as the past treasurer, I know all the things that you have done. And so this is a very, very small token of our appreciation, but I wanted you to have this.
There's not even a drink.
Please do. Otherwise, I won't put you on the spot.
I was not expecting this, but thank you. I really do appreciate it.
Okay, we do have some chapter presidents here. Richard Cushmall? No?
It's going to be tomorrow.
Okay, he'll be here tomorrow. Beth Ayers of the Mockingbird Chapter. Steve Sanders of the Fort Worth Poetry Society. And we do have some counselors. There's going to be some folks coming tomorrow, but we do have some here tonight. Beth Honeycutt. Sylvia Medal. Medell, sorry. You can hit me later. Alice Parker from Prosper, Texas. And Loretta Diane Walker from Odessa. Raise your hand. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, I'd like to introduce those members who are on the Centennial Committee. Irene, Catherine Larison. Catherine, if you raise your hand.
We also have counselors at large here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Michelle is not.
Michaud, hey, okay, stand up if you are also a counselor at large. Raise your hand then, raise your hand. You weren't on the list, man, what can I say?
That was my mistake. That was my mistake, and I.
That's all right, no, just be quiet over there, because all the things that you have done to make tonight happen, okay, all the things you've done. Let's give Beth Ayers a hand. I'm sure you have a lot of people help you, and you can thank them all later, but right now we want to thank you. So the Centennial Committee, Catherine Larison was on the Centennial Committee. Sylvia, Beth on the Centennial Committee. And then let me ask Beth Ayers to come up here because she's got some presentations to make.
So I'll call you.
Let's give her a hand as she's coming up.
I hope you do know the counselors at large are very important to me. It's been many months ago that we first started talking about doing something special for the 100th celebration, 100th anniversary, our centennial. And so Irene has been working on this for a long time, and it's really sad that she wasn't able to be here tonight. But one of the things that was really important to her was that we give recognition to 10 individuals that she feels like really deserve something. You know, we're a nonprofit volunteer organization, and everyone here knows that because you've volunteered somehow or another along the way. Every single person in this room is important to the Poetry Society of Texas, whether you've done something as simple as write a poem to enter in a contest, or perhaps just support the person in your life who wrote a poem to enter into one of our contests. Even those little things are what PST is all about. It's those little things that everyone in this room has done to help us last for 100 years. So Irene really felt strongly that we needed to do something for a few people. We wish we could do something for more and more and more. I'm going to begin with this Centennial Award. Now, this is something that PST has never done before, and since it's a Centennial Award, we will not be doing it again. This is a special award that Irene wanted to present to several people who have done a lot for PST. And this first one in my hand is for Nancy Bass.
And honestly, I started coming to, I'm a private poet, as y'all probably know, but I started getting involved with PST because I brought my dear mother, who was the more known poet. And it's amazing what can happen to you when you just say, is there anything I can do? It gets you into a lot of jobs, and it's been an honor to serve this organization. It's been very gratifying. And even though I live in South Texas, some of my best friends are in this group, and they will be for the rest of my life, and this means a tremendous amount to me. Thank you. I'm wearing my mother's clothes tonight just to bring her along since she's passed, and her little bear that she used for exercise squeezing. Thank you. Thank you.
I remember the very first PST event I came to was one of the annual awards banquets, and Nancy Bass and her mother were co-chairs of that, and I feel so honored that I was able to meet her mother and say hello to her, and to see, I think at that one event, you know, I had found out that PST existed. I came to this event not knowing that I was in for 4 hours of poetry. But during those hours, I was so struck by the people involved in the Poetry Society of Texas, and the way that they revered their past presidents, their former presidents of NFSPS, which Nancy did that, which is remarkable. I mean, Texas, Poetry Society of Texas has had 3 NFSPS presidents, I think, and or four, 5. I mean, this is just remarkable. it was clear to me that every single person that volunteers for PST usually wears more than one hat. I mean, they usually are doing multiple things to help with Poetry Society of Texas. And that is true of the volunteers that are doing as high-profile positions as Nancy did for so long, being contests chair, and so many other things that she has done. So everyone that we're recognizing has done multiple things. And the next one on the list is Valerie Martin Bailey.
I just want y'all to know that I enjoyed every single moment of doing the bulletin. And I would still be doing it if my hands hadn't given up on it. I got neuropathy in my hands and I couldn't work that long typing. But I loved every minute of it. And I appreciate y'all giving me that job and letting me do it. I'd still be doing it if my hands would cooperate with me. So thank you so much for this.
And just like Nancy, of course, you know, Valerie has done many, many things over the years in addition to being a bulletin editor for quite a long time. So, so then I would like to move on to recognize, because Irene really wanted to recognize our past presidents. It was clear to me from the very beginning of my introduction to PST that there is a reverence for past presidents, that we appreciate them, and they're listed in our Book of the Year because they're important to us and are, you know, are just an integral part of Poetry Society of Texas. But we never, I started to say very rarely, but we've never given a tangible hold in your hand thank you to our past presidents like this, and we want to do that now. I don't know where I put my glasses at. So the first on our list is Linda Banks. And Linda has done so much. She for so many years, in addition to being past president, she was editor of our Book of the Year. Again, multiple things that we really appreciate. And Aman Khan, isn't it fabulous that we have a past president who is not just known in Texas, but he is internationally known poet. He spreads the word for Poetry Society of Texas all over the world. So, Aman Khan, thank you for doing all that you do. And you know, some of our presidents have been presidents more than once. Among them, of course, Bud Powell Mahan. I can't begin to tell you how much Bud has done. And of course, one of the most important things in my mind that he did for PST is for many, many years to do the student contests and student awards. And it just is amazing how much one person can do, how important one person can be to an organization. So thank you, Bud. And thinking of presidents who have served more than once, we also have Catherine Lair. And Catherine, I can't tell you how many times I personally have had to turn to Catherine to ask a question, and she usually has the answers. She amazes me in how much she knows about the history of PST, and just everything about PST. So she has, again, many roles. She has done so many things for PST over the years and continues to do that. And Marilyn Stacy. And I remember I was already coming to PST when Marilyn took her place as president, and I was just so impressed with, well, at that time I was really impressed with how she could play basketball. She rather amazed me with her ability to do things physically. Such a wonderful president who led PST right along the way, and we really appreciate all that you do and all that you have done. So thank you. And now we have a Centennial Award for Jeanette Strother. Jeanette, there she is. She's back there. And Jeanette, I remember when Jeanette was president, and I was already coming to PST, she mentioned with such enthusiasm, she has such beautiful enthusiasm, and she mentioned that we should try doing the Poem in Your Pocket Day. And do you know, ever since that year, I have done it. I have tried to do it. It was kind of hard in 2020 when you couldn't go anywhere. But every year when I think of Poem in Your Pocket Day, I think of Jeanette Strother and how she led us with PST. And thank you, Jeanette. So our next Centennial Award goes to Pat Spagel. So I remember that, I mentioned that very first thing I went to for PST. I believe it was at that event, if memory serves me. But I was in this room full of people, just like we are tonight, and someone came through the door, and all of a sudden there was this, and someone leaned over to me and says, "That's Pat Spagel." She's a past president. Her husband was a president too, And so it became very clear to me that Pat is part of PST and part of the reason that it has survived for so long.
Well, I would like to add that she was the first female president of PST.
Catherine added that she was not just a past president, but the first female president of PST and NFSPS.
Hello. Beth has been kind enough to let me speak to you for a minute or two. I didn't think I was going to get to come tonight. And in my mind, I could hear Don say, "What? You're not going to the 100th year anniversary?" And those of you who knew Don could hear him saying that to me. Absolutely. He was the 14th president of this organization and the legal counsel for it for many, many years, and for the National Federation of State Poetry Societies. And if you knew Don, you knew you didn't argue with what Don said. He was the person who got things done, and he would be very proud of you being here tonight. 100 years. To have an organization last for 5 years is amazing. To have one last for 100 years is almost a miracle. Many of the people who made it possible are no longer here, but many of you in this room tonight are the ones who kept it going. And you can attest to the fact it has not been easy to keep this organization going for so long. There have been times it seemed almost impossible. Then someone would step up to serve on the board, agree to be the program chairman, the monthly contest chairman, the bulletin editor, the yearly contest chairman, the banquet chairman, a book of the year editor, and someone throughout the state would say, I think our chapter can handle the summer conference this year after all. It was wonderful the way people stepped up. That is why this organization has lasted for this long. All these people through all these years donating their time and efforts because they believed in its purpose. It's unimaginable to know how much effort goes into preparing the monthly bulletin, how much proofing goes into the book of the year, how many letters are sent by the yearly contest chairman unless you have helped with these jobs. To chair a yearly banquet is a monumental task. To chair a national one is even harder. And Texas has done it how many times? 4, 5? How many? I'm not sure. 5. Yeah, that's what I had. And he told me about an organization called the Poetry Society of Texas and said I should enter its contest. I was a little amazed because in the papers I wrote, it never said good and great. It was, the best I got from him was not bad. So I was amazed when he actually suggested I should enter the contest with my poetry. I joined in 1965, and we met at SMU in those days. The first meeting I went to was a June garden party, and I could not believe it. I was surrounded by people who loved poetry and who wrote poetry, and for me, it was heavenly. I'd just never been around people that felt that way about poetry. People have been generous with their money for prizes, and our contests have always been the backbone of the society. Its purpose is to promote poetry and the individual poet. It has given acclaim and money, but most of all, it has given poets a place to have their poetry heard and valued, and that is a gift beyond price. Over the years, the society has become colorblind and genderblind. Thank goodness. For 55 years, no woman served as president. When I asked why not, I was told, it's too much responsibility for a woman to handle. I think many women through the following years have proved that statement to be untrue. We've been fortunate in this organization to have good leaders. So many of you in this room have devoted huge chunks of your life to this organization. It has been that important to you. Thank you for all you have done. A special thank you to Bud, because he wrote this book. And it is the best record. It's hard to write a history book. This is by far the best record of the Poetry Society of Texas you will find anywhere. And if you don't have it, I would suggest you buy it. Did you bring any tonight? No. Chiba.
Tomorrow.
Okay, anyway. Finally, a big congratulations to all of you who are here, who've kept the Poetry Society of Texas alive to reach 100 years. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all you have done.
And I will mention that we do have a Centennial Award for our other living past president, Richard Sale. Richard Sale. And we will make sure that he gets it. And of course, like many of you in this room, being here 2 years after the last time we were able to meet together like this, we're both, I am, and all of us are missing J. Paul Holcomb and Jimmy Anez Sessions.
Yes.
But we are glad to celebrate with our living past presidents, and we appreciate you all, and we hope that you can find a place to put your Centennial Award where you will think of us and know that we really do appreciate all that you do. So thank you to all the past presidents, to Valerie Martin Bailey, and to Nancy Bass. And I have one other thing that I would like to mention, because I would never have found the Poetry Society of Texas if it weren't for Michaud Lamoureux, because he had the foresight and found the time to make a website. If he had not done that, I don't know how many others of you found PST through the website, but I would still be oblivious to it if I hadn't looked there and found Poetry Society of Texas, which then led me to the Mockingbird chapter, and that's my home. So thank you, Michelle, for all you've done for PST and continue to do. And I will turn it back over to Steve.
Those salads getting warm? Yeah. I am tempted to do the invocation that my stepson, the Marine, normally does, which is sit, pray, attack. But please join me as I approach my higher power in the way that you approach yours. And let's have a few moments of silence.